Welcome back to my career series to help you show up and navigate your career authentically and intentionally. And as always, you can head on over to my Instagram or TikTok where I share my life and career advice almost every day, completely unfiltered. So to round this short series out, 3 additional things that I've learned the hard way. Number 1 was being adversarial, essentially being a difficult employee. You will not always like who you work with or work for, but let me give you some perspective. With every growing company, change management is normal. It's essential to helping that organization be successful. And I'm going to share my personal experiences to give you an example. In one occasion, I just cannot stand this new boss that had been assigned to our team. I and my colleagues had our personal reasons, yet that still didn't make it okay for me to be a difficult employee to manage, because it only discredits you. So the lesson here is that you cannot assume that someone is not qualified for the job. Give your manager the benefit. Try to get to know the person you are working for. What are their goals? What are their aspirations? What do they see in you and what do they see in the team? Use that as a basis to help inform your opinion. Every situation is an opportunity to learn, and those learnings help you grow. However, I am a firm believer in reading energy, and sometimes people's energies just don't mix. It is still not okay to be incredibly combative and rude to your manager. I have witnessed situations where a new manager comes in and the employees just want nothing to do with it, mainly based on their own personal biases, their ego, or probably because they thought they were ready for the job. And regardless of how nice, intelligent, and competent this person was, the employees chose to be difficult. And that only creates a situation where you can be put on performance review. Those difficult moments with those bosses that I felt were just not qualified enough to manage other individuals showed me so much about the complex dynamics on what it is to be an employee and also what it takes to be a manager. Yes, we all aspire to be a manager, but trust me, it is not easy managing people. Many times you'll end up spending more time managing the personal problems of those individuals and the performance problems of those individuals than being able to actually do your job. You'll get a lot more by earning the trust of your manager and being a team player. So the takeaway here is to ask yourself, will the short-term discomfort support your long-term goals? Mistake number 2, gossiping. I'm not here for it, never have I been there for it. However, I found myself in some work environments where gossip was the language of friendship, and I was often alienated because I chose not to participate. If your work friendships are just based on gossip, that is not a basis for a healthy relationship, and you never have the complete story. The one time I decided to join the gossip party because I was honestly just tired of being left out, it ended up only creating a lot more unnecessary drama in my work environment, and it just made my job much more difficult. Now, I'm gonna keep it super real with you. I once got caught talking about my boss to my boss because I accidentally sent them the message that was meant for my colleague. And yes, my colleague was the one creating the gossip, inviting me to participate, but I had a choice, and I chose to engage. I got caught. Subsequently, I was fired. I don't have to tell you that being fired is obviously not fun, but it teaches you a lot. And sometimes the redirection is what you need to help you learn the lessons that are going to help you be a better person, employee, and even leader. Number 3, code switching. Unfortunately, early on in my career, I code switched. I felt the need to shrink myself, hide the parts of myself that didn't feel like it didn't fit in with the organization. In many of the environments that I was in, I was truly always the only Latina or the only person of color. And in some environments, it was very apparent that I was being measured very differently compared to my white peers. And so I needed to be incredibly calculated with how I showed up, how I spoke, and what I shared about myself. And the lesson that I learned is that you are hired for a reason. Your talents, your uniqueness, diversity and inclusivity today is obviously a non-negotiable, but I would say even 10 years ago, it was a nice to have, but it wasn't a requirement. And many times they would hire you just to satisfy a quota, and I'm sure that it still exists today. But you're doing yourself a disservice and your community a disservice by not showing up as your authentic self. And I know that I touched upon this in the first video, but it's because it's that important. In not showing up as my authentic self, it also led to not building authentic relationships. The moment I decided that code switching was not going to be something I engaged in was the moment that my career began to change. And it also made me much more aware of the people that I could and couldn't trust. Remember, you're not gonna like everybody you work with. You're not being hired to be best friends with people. You're being hired to deliver a service. Your career can absolutely be fun, but more than anything, your career is there to help you learn and for you to apply those learnings to your job. Today, I show up as my most authentic self in any environment and with whomever I'm speaking to. And that's because I've taken the time to get to know myself, to love myself, to honor my boundaries, and to assess what energies and environments are conducive to my success and my overall peace. mental wellness has a place in the workplace. And if you feel like there's an environment that's not conducive to your well-being, I would recommend make a list. What are the things that don't feel congruent to who you want to be or where you want to go? And assess, is it the workplace? Is it the people? Or is it you? Sometimes people quit the boss, not the job. And many times people quit because the culture of the organization does not align with their personal values. Many times people code switch subconsciously, but you're hurting those that are coming after you. We need more diversity and inclusivity in the workplace. If you decide to leave a job for any reason, it's okay if it didn't work out for you. You do not have to tarnish it for your friends that are still working there. Just because something didn't work out for you doesn't mean that it won't work out for them. You don't have to burn the bridge, burn the building to make your point heard. Exit with grace. You'll never know when you'll need those recommendations in the future. Number 4 is about advocating for yourself. I was that do-gooder, keep your head down, maybe somebody will notice and want to give me a raise or promotion kind of employee. Now, the majority of the organizations in this world, you will not get promoted or a raise based on your work merit alone. My tip to all my mentees is keep a running list of all your accomplishments. Take a survey at least on a monthly basis, because if you wait towards end of your review, chances are you're probably going to forget all of the amazing things that you've done throughout the year. You might just remember the highlights, but you also have to remember it's the little things that also bring value to the organization. My final piece of advice regarding your career for this short series is that it's okay to have loved something and then not. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to start from the beginning. You're not starting from scratch. You are starting from experience. I know that I would not be where I am today had I not bet on myself, had taken a chance on myself, and put myself in environments that were completely foreign to me. Many of the industries I was in, I knew nothing about. But that goes with anything. You don't wake up one day and know everything there is to know about accounting, technology, media, publishing, marketing, social media, sales. You have to start somewhere, and you need to be comfortable with starting there. Sometimes we rush to want to get the jobs and the titles and the promotion. Then we get caught up in the hamster wheel of trying to reach these titles, these arbitrary goals. And then we get lost and stuck along the way because we end up pursuing things that probably aren't even meant for us. So if you ever feel a little stuck, take a step back, assess the situation, assess where you want to go, and remind yourself, does this short-term situation help me get to my long-term happy place? It's your career path to navigate, not your parents, not your friends, not society's, yours. You want to make sure that when you lay your head down at night, you are at peace with the thoughts in your mind. And the only way that you get to that peace is by living harmoniously to what feels good for you. Spirituality, mental wellness, and feeling certainly have a place in your career. Use that to help guide you. I hope this super short series was helpful. And again, if you have any career questions on how to show up authentically and intentionally, let me know. Don't forget to check out my TikTok and Instagram, where I'm consistently sharing my life and career advice. Bye for now.